All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Irish Coffee Hour. I am, as they say, your host, Ryan Harbinson. I'm going to mute everybody. And today is a really fun day. So today our guest is SJYPA. So this is a new kind of look into the series where I'm highlighting different organizations throughout the greater South Jersey, Philadelphia area. It's really great. Nice turnout. Thanks for everybody's support, and really appreciate everybody, helping push the event and sharing and all that. So, and with that, we've got some really good partners that are really helping me spread the word. So I want to give them just a quick 15 seconds to kind of give a little highlight. So Bob Kennedy with Insperity, Mike Camiso with DocuTrend, Brian Barry with Catholic Partnership Schools, and James Corbett with Project Refit. So Bob, if you want to just give us 15 seconds who you are, and just thanks for spreading the word and being a media partner.
Media partner, absolutely. I'm Bob Kennedy with Insperity. Most of you guys know what I do, who I am. Outsource HR company dealing with small to mid-sized businesses. Love to engage with any business owner struggling during this time. We try and help take business owners from running a business to leading a great company. So anything HR, we're here for you. Thanks.
Great.
Thanks, Ryan. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Bob. Mike, go ahead.
How you guys doing? Raph, you definitely don't have me beat today. Your hair's, you need some work today, this morning. I gotta
the more I'm out on the West Coast, the more au naturel I like it.
That's right. You're just relaxing, taking it all in. I envy you, brother. Mike Camiso, DocuTrend Imaging Solutions. So we help customers automate workflows, and we're an authorized dealer for Canon, Kyocera, copiers and printers. So thanks, Ryan, for having me, and glad to help out.
Great. Thanks, Mike. Brian, go ahead.
Brian Barry with Catholic Partnership Schools. So we have 5 campuses in Camden, and we provide options and opportunities for kids in Camden. And I want to shout out AJ. Thank you so much for speaking on Friday to our kids. They had a great experience, so we really appreciate it. I was too busy out drinking, but that was awesome. Thanks.
You got a great set of kids over there, Brian. So thank you for the opportunity. It was my pleasure.
I can't imagine how intense and amazing your presentation was going to be. So
can I share the link? Can I share it with the group?
Yeah, that's all right. Yeah,
sure. Always happy to help a younger generation, especially when it focuses them in on maybe what they could be doing with their lives.
All right. And thanks, AJ. It's awesome, man. And last but not least, a media sponsor and a guest today. So look at the double whammy, Mr. James Corbett.
Hey everybody, James Corbett, Project Refit, helping out veterans, first responders, and families. We're building up the community of the future. That's our goal. We're doing it by taking VFWs and putting them on wheels and driving them around to different locations so that veterans, first responders have a place to go, and you get them out of their homes and out of their apartments, and even show up to their cardboard boxes and help them out in any way that we possibly can. James Corbett, Project Refit. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, James. All right. And as I said, today's topic is kind of discussing a little bit about SJYPA, what they do, and some of their board members and what they do full time, and kind of what's been going on with that. So we're going to give our panelists just a couple seconds to introduce themselves so you get to know who they are, and then we're going to dive right into this. So Simon is the president of SJYPA right now. So Simon, the floor is yours. Who are you, and what's your full-time gig, my friend?
Yeah, so name's Simon Rossiter. I'm a settlement advisor at Ringler, or the Fillion Group at Ringler here in South Jersey. We kind of specializing in helping personal injury victims, workers' comp victims, plan out their futures, manage their money, help them figure out how to maintain their benefits, set up trusts, all that kind of stuff. So really, really unique job that probably no one here has ever heard of, but it's something fun that, I got into a number of years ago and really enjoy helping people out.
Great. Thanks. Dave, go ahead.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Dave McNally. I'm a partner shareholder with Holt McNally & Associates. We are a specialty accounting firm. We specialize heavily in local governments, municipalities, fire districts, school districts. We also do some nonprofits, foundation work, things like that. We're a niche firm in South Jersey, probably about 15 people right now. And I'm also the treasurer for SJYPA. I've been the treasurer for the last couple of years. Thanks.
Great, thanks. Charlie.
Morning, everyone. Charlie Denon. I'm an attorney with Archer & Griner. We have office here in Haddonfield. We are a full service law firm. I personally practice environmental law mostly, but as a full service law firm, we provide pretty much any need. So if anybody ever has any legal issues, please feel free to reach out. And I live in Haddonfield with my wife, Kate, and my kids, Caroline and Brooks.
Nice. And James back again.
Hey, everybody, Project Refit, everything I just said before. And if you guys ever have any veterans or anything like that need resources, or first responders that do, please let me know. And I'll just, I guess, cover real quick just something that we did last week. We helped out a veteran last week in a really big way. And over the weekend, we helped another guy too. And we helped raise over $35,000 for a family recently as well. So those are just some recent success stories for you guys to kind of sink your teeth into for Project Refit. So thank you.
Thanks.
An event May 27th. My bad. God.
Yeah, golf outing is on May 27th. So, so there's a lot of organizations out there, and SJYPA has been around for a long time. It's kind of a younger group of individuals and young executives that are kind of like really focused on helping nonprofits. And I've stumbled across this group probably about 2.5, 3 years ago, and it's a great, really nice squad of people. And I'm really excited for some of the work that they've been doing. The Halo Ball is a huge opportunity for a nonprofit to be highlighted and raise some money. And James is the recipient of that this year. We'll get into that later. What's great is to see the leadership continue to grow. So, Simon, as the president right now, and just everything being kind of not the way we all want it to be, kind of give us some insight, kind of like just tell us more about the org, like how you guys got started, what the focus is, and what's going on and what you guys are doing. I know we had a really nice little like outside event in Morristown that was really nice, maybe in the summer. It was good to kind of see people. So
Yeah, so SJYPA got started about 15 years ago by a group of young professionals in the Haddonfield area. Basically, like most of this stuff, it started with a group of people that got together and hanging out for happy hours. The group grew and grew and grew to the point where bars basically started telling them, hey, you can't just keep coming here and overtaking the bar with all your people. You're going to have to make it a little more formalized. So they started renting out space at bars and charging people money and all that. And then it was like, well, we got this great group, but what do we actually do with it, right? There's tons of networking groups out there, but how do we make it a little bit different? So they created themselves as a nonprofit, and the basic focus is getting young people together, but making sure that they're aware of what opportunities there are to give back in South Jersey and in the greater community. So all of our events are focused on giving back to a particular nonprofit. We kind of go through, we have a couple of different ways that nonprofits can get in touch with us, mostly through applying for Halo Ball. And then we basically just put on fun events. There's no name tags, there's nothing else like that. This isn't the formal, like going around, shaking everybody's hand, changing out business cards, networking events. They're just a ways for young people to get together, have a good time. Normally there's quite a bit of drinking involved. And different things. So we do traditionally in the years past, we've done tailgates at Phillies games, we've done bowling, we've done beer fest, we've done our Halloween, Halloween crawl through, Westmont, of course, our Halo Ball event, toy drive, stuff like that. Obviously this past year, everything I was lucky enough to take over in March of last year. So I got the shitty year to be president of SJYPA. And we basically got to put on more virtual stuff. But this year we are starting up April 18th. We're doing a scavenger hunt that's starting in the Archer parking lot. We'll be giving out clues for teams to go out and do stuff. We got a chip and putt, a mini golf tournament coming in early May. We're going to do a tailgate for a Phillies game, probably do it somewhere local. And then obviously the big event coming up is Halo Ball. That's going to be coming up in September, and it's going to be benefiting Project Refit. So
it's great. It's a really good, group of kind of up and coming individuals. I mean, I think what we don't realize is that in that first lower level biz dev and making their way up, within 3 years, a lot of those people start to become like higher up in the chain. So it's great to kind of learn who is kind of the movers and shakers that are out there. And again, it's one of these, organizations that's not full of, people hard selling, which I think we all try to kind of keep our avenues open for that stuff, because we've all had, card flingers and, sales like, all right, man, what's your name? Like, before you start hard selling me, let me know what your name is. So, I think just a couple things, and the highlight, they've raised, like, in the last 11 years, like, over close to like $620,000 for organizations in South Jersey area, which is amazing. And because of the impact that they've done, it highlights a lot of these organizations as well. So it's really great to see you guys kind of changing that stuff. And and are you guys like involved with like bringing like other like organizations in with you? Like, are the local governments involved too? Like, I mean, like, do they help you highlight like who's like important with that, or how does that work too? Like,
Yeah, so we typically, try and partner, obviously, with the nonprofits is one thing to get their name out there. We're starting to do other stuff with some of the chambers, other smaller organizations, like other networking groups, like YB Connected was one that we had done stuff with for a number of years, SEO entrepreneurs, stuff like that, bringing younger groups together. Because we don't have a membership. We don't charge for membership. We don't care if people are members of our organization, others. It doesn't bother me in the slightest. All it really is for us is just about getting young people out there, especially now when people don't even have that chance to go talk to their coworker down the way. It's just an opportunity for people to get together and get to know each other. And more than anything else is just to encourage people to give back. I think that a lot of young people, the earlier they can get involved in giving back to nonprofits, the better. Obviously, the big companies out there this is part of their, way they do things now. Holman, for example, right? All their employees are encouraged to go out there and do stuff. But at the smaller firms, it's not as big of a push. So we're trying to get the smaller companies and businesses to start, giving back to the community as much as they can. Other than that, yeah, I mean, we do some work with local, like, businesses or even local governments and stuff like that, but not as much, Ryan. Maybe that's something we'll have to look into a little bit more.
yeah, I mean, I know a lot of the different towns are starting to kind of figure out ways to kind of bring people back in, and highlighting, nonprofits might be a way to help them in those areas. And I know, Dave, you do a lot with the local government side and like the nonprofit stuff too. So like, what does that look like for you, kind of doing like audits for them, and like how is that, like, what does that look like over the last like 6 months, and like what do you think the future is looking like? Because it's, when nobody has a lot of dough, it's hard to kind of continue to raise funds. So
Yeah, so it's been a little bit different. I mean, typically when you're talking about local government, it's pretty dry, pretty boring, not a lot to talk about. But the technology has been a big issue. I think a lot of us were probably set up to do things remotely for the most part. Local governments are typically last to adopt technology. So from my side of things, audits, consulting was a challenge, especially the beginning of the pandemic. How are we going to keep things moving forward where we're typically at the client looking at paper, and trying to get a client to do a Zoom meeting was a challenge, but they figured that out as we went. There have been some challenges financially for them. Schools, believe it or not, did pretty well at the end of June 30, 2020, because of the closure. They saved a bunch of money. But going forward, with all the losses at the state, that's going to start to trickle down and really pinch the school budgets. The biggest thing is going to be going forward now with all of the federal funding that's coming in. We're talking about millions of dollars to schools who aren't used to receiving that kind of money. There's going to be almost $3 billion coming into local schools in New Jersey alone. And once they receive that money, within 30 days, they need to adopt a plan on how to get schools back open. So that's the big thing for us right now, is putting questions from our clients. Hey, what can we spend our money on? Can we do this? Can we do that? Believe it or not, they can do a lot of things with this money that they're going to be getting from the American Rescue Plan. They might be putting in sidewalks, and you're like, well, how are they putting in sidewalks with federal funding? What does that have to do with anything? Well, that's the safer path to get kids in remotely, and separate kids with social distancing and all that stuff. So right now, we're really focused on the consulting side. But then after that is going to be the audit side. So when
Yeah, what is that going to look like when, like, there's all these regulations when all this money was coming in, like with all the PPP stuff and all that, and like you've got people that are like, "Hey, I laid everybody off, but I've got this sweet new Ford Bronco, pretty awesome, right?" Like, are you seeing a lot of that, or are people actually utilizing the money to keep the business open?
Yeah, so from my perspective, it's on the government side, it's pretty, I don't want to say straightforward, but there's no buying of trucks and things like that. There's a lot of control around the money. But going forward next year, when we come to do the audits of this past year, once they receive all this federal funding, there's going to be a lot of guidance coming out from the federal government on what they needed to spend that money on. And it's going to be our job to make sure they spent it right. And it's going to be a lot of smaller districts. If you're in a smaller school district that normally doesn't have those types of audits, they may have them this year. So that's a little bit of a concern because they're probably not set up to handle that sort of thing. So it should be interesting to see. And it's going to be a busy year. It's going to be a busy year and making sure that all the federal funds were spent how they were supposed to be spent.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of housekeeping stuff's being like taken advantage of. Like, you said earlier, like everybody's budgets are kind of disappeared because now there's no electric being used as much. Some of the staff is not there, so now it's like the things that they wanted to push off, they can kind of do. I mean, we've seen that in the marketing world too. Like everybody was freaking out for a little while, and then they realized that travel budgets are like non-existent anymore. So now everyone's kind of being like, "Oh, we're saving all this money. Let's try to get in front of all these people that make sense." So, I mean, is that like kind of what we're seeing? Like projects that would have been 3 years in the future are now being done now because we don't want to lose the money that we're getting, more or less?
Yeah, so especially with schools, what they did and what was smart and what we advise them to do is take that savings and reserve it. So school districts are highly monitored by the state. If they have excess funding, it actually needs to go back to taxpayers that next year in their budget, but you can reserve it for future capital needs. So what we did is we had them, any extra money they were able to save, they reserved so that they can use for the upcoming years, whether it be capital or offsetting future losses of state aid, which I would definitely expect to happen in the next few years.
Guys, Simon, Charlie, are you guys seeing anything similar to that?
I mean, personally, in the industries that I service as an attorney, especially early on, they were pretty hard hit by COVID. I mean, in the environmental realm, the trickle down of, you talked about people not using as much electric and not traveling as much, the oil and gas industry was hit. So there was certainly a kind of trickle down cyclical effect that things have kind of trended back in the right direction, but it was a challenge for a lot of companies for a long time. And, one of the issues, this is not something that I deal with a ton, but it's something that's near and dear to a lot of people's hearts, is the renter issue and being able to pay your rent or mortgages. That was something that was a big challenge for a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, what happens in those situations where you've got like the chain of command kind of making their way up to the top, where it's like my tenants can't pay, and then they can't pay the banks, and then the banks are stuck, and like what is I mean, we all know that the commercial real estate market is kind of like up in arms right now. Like, what are you guys seeing on that? Like, are there cases behind that? Are the landlords winning? Or are the banks foreclosing? Like, what?
From a legal side, not really right now, because in New Jersey, at least, Governor Murphy issued an executive order about a year ago now that basically stayed all evictions, and that's currently set to expire sometime in June. And then there's been some other protections for tenants put in place, like mandating that credit cards be accepted to allow people to pay rent.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, that can be a catch-22 from a personal perspective. Do you incur debt where you're going to have to pay, potentially, 25% if you don't pay off the entire balance? But, so, I mean, it's a very difficult situation, but from a legal, kind of litigation perspective, there's really not been very much right now because of the extra protections in place on top of the protections that already exist in the law to protect tenants, because obviously, we don't want people being put out of their homes due to unexpected financial hardship, loss of jobs, things like that. So,
Mhm.
but once that executive order expires in June, we'll see. I mean, I know that kind of nationally, the news has been that it hasn't been as bad as people feared. In 2008 with the housing crisis, there was a concern that we might return to that, and again, I'll use the term trickle down effect and the economic impacts. But so far, the trend seems to be that it's not as bad. But once these moratoriums expire, that'll kind of be pretty telling.
Yeah. Simon, go ahead.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, with my world of personal injury and all that kind of stuff, obviously, all of our stuff's been put on complete hold with the courts. We're kind of having the same issue. As Charlie said, everything's done. But I tell you, when those courts open back up and some of this stuff gets done, there's gonna be a mad rush for the courthouse to try and get some of these things done. I mean, it's not just the real estate world, the personal injury world. It's other trials, criminal trials, all this stuff. Everything's been put on hold, and it's just gonna be interesting to see. I know all the lawyers are, practicing yelling in the mirror themselves, so they're ready to court again because they've been dying to get back in there. And it'll be interesting to see what happens in the next couple of months when things really do start, opening back up from that perspective. So.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a court appearance today at 11:30, and I'm going to be sitting right here doing the same thing.
Yeah.
But
You can't read the
Simon
room,
touched on-
right? It's hard to do that. I got
Nah.
a few.
Yeah, it's very difficult. For a sec, Simon hit on something that is really interesting from, kind of to anybody, not just lawyers, is the criminal side of things. With courtrooms being put on hold, there are people right now who are being held on criminal charges who aren't able to proceed to trial, who aren't able to, you have a constitutional right to face your accuser. So when all of that stuff returns, I think the indications are they're going to front load the criminal cases. And so the backlog of whether it be, eviction issues or other kind of civil disputes over money, that stuff is going to be thrown to the back, I think, and they're going to have a challenge to unpack all of that stuff.
It's going to be very interesting to see, like, it's going to be just such a line of everything for multiple industries at once. And what happens with all the commercial stuff and in general too? And I mean, I know I've seen a lot of more industrial has really been on fire on the real estate side, and people were buying 50,000 square foot warehouses and then chopping them up and putting a lot of mini factory stuff in there, like woodworkers and things like that. Cause that's I don't know if anybody has tried to get furniture over the last year, but it's absurd. I bought a dresser and it took 8 months to get here. Cause everyone's just doing home projects. So it's nuts. But kind of just going over what we were talking about before, right? So James, what have you seen any intakes with you guys on giving and maybe people getting more involved because people aren't traveling as much, and now people have a little bit more budgets for people that are still working and didn't get laid off and all that?
I really don't know the answer to that. I mean, that could be an assumption on my part, but I don't know. I don't know if that's the case. I think that maybe it's more difficult for nonprofits to actually raise money, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Because it's such a tumultuous time, right? You don't know where the money's going to come from next. So you have to get in touch with the right markets and the right people. Or you have to host, I guess, the right kind of events to get people excited to come out. I mean, that's why Project Refit really found its footing too, and we're trying to build something that's community oriented. So that's why I think a lot of our events worked out so well last year, the cornhole tournament, the car cruise, things that people could do outside and still do together, that are simple, quick, and easy. They might not be the highest grossing, events right now, but I think that they'll be easily replicatable, so that anybody from anywhere can host one on our behalf, and we can give them a quick template. I think that's something that's been super successful in helping us kind of guide ourselves through this, pandemic and this whole problem. We also did really well online too. So I think another thing that really worked out for us was how we were literally able to, quickly transition into just doing things online, because that's kind of our whole mentality is a hybrid idea, right? So the hybrid being both on and offline. So people saw us more. And I think they started doing more Facebook fundraisers, getting these small micro donations here and there. That really helped us out and kept us afloat. And of course, actually, shout out to Camden County for the Camden County Hope. I think it was Camden County Hope grant that they put out. I think it was Hope, if I remember properly. But anyway, they actually gave us a $5,000 grant last year, which helped us out a lot.
Great.
Being a small organization, have that in the bank just as a backup was incredible. So, we estimated that we lost last year. We probably weren't able to raise, I think we estimated about $60,000 with our plans that we had set out. And then this year we're staying on track. We want to raise 300,000. But that's a part of the problem, I guess, of going from pandemic to opening up. So, but yeah, that's it. I hope that answers the question. That it's hard for me to answer. It's just that we had to do some interesting stuff to stay alive. So
Just curious to see, like, I don't know, when no one has money and you need people to donate money, like what's the shift for you guys? So it's good to see that you're kind of doing it.
Yeah, real quick on that, Ryan, because obviously with our events and stuff like that, what we saw is you spoke about the event we had in November, the coat drive happy hour type event we had in November. And we kind of hit the prime spot of right before everything blew up again. We were able to have an in-person event. And we found that it shifted. Typically, a lot of our events are done by, what you would call your big local companies, your big banks, your big companies, stuff like that are sponsors. For that event, we had 14 sponsors and 12 of them were new, smaller companies that just wanted to find a way of getting their name out there. And that's why, for Halo Ball, we kind of switched things around a bit and opened up some lower level sponsorships because, like you said, these companies that aren't doing the travel budgets and aren't, and my typical expense account has gone from, quite large every month for entertaining clients and doing all that down to nothing because I haven't done anything. So we were able to use that money to go put back in something else. So that's why we lowered our sponsorships levels a little bit to give some smaller businesses that do have a little more money out there an opportunity to get involved, to get their name out there, align with us, align with Project Refit for Halo Ball and really start, getting their name out there early.
Yeah.
Anybody that wants to sponsor Halo Ball, let me know. We can get the information out to you guys and you'll get, almost 6 months worth of advertising free from us blasting your company name out there to all of our members for the next 6 months. So
Love that.
what do you think about?
Yeah, and just give us a little insight on Halo Ball, and then James will go to you kind of on how that's affected you guys and what that does for you as the organization too. So
Yeah. So Halo Ball, basically, it's what we like to call our party with a purpose. It's the most fun charity event you will be at. 6-hour open bar. Everybody gets to get dressed up, but it's not formal. It's not stuffy. It's nothing else like that. It's basically just like a big party. Anybody that's been to it before and can actually remember being there, I recommend you. It really is a good time. And it's all just about raising money for Project Refit. It gives everybody an opportunity to get that out there and have some fun. So like I said, it's going to be September 18th at the West End in Mount Laurel. We're accepting sponsorships now. We're accepting auction donations now. And we will be, and obviously ticket sales will probably start going on sale in June. We pretty much anticipate the tickets are going to sell out pretty damn quick because we are capped at only 300 people this year. So I'll
Great.
put info in the chat box for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, if I could just jump in for a
yeah,
second.
please.
As a further plug for Halo Ball, I'm sure everybody here has been to the various networking events and parties and things like that. It is seriously the most fun thing. And it's also for such a great cause. I mean, this year, Project Refit, I'm not going to steal James's thunder, but I'll let him talk about it. But we had our kickoff Halo Ball planning meeting last week, and their mission and his passion for it, so you get to go, get dressed up, drink, dance, party with some friends, bring your significant other and know that you're doing it to benefit something like Project Refit. I mean, it's a really great thing. And, just a quick shout out to my firm, Archer and Griner. We have been one of the longest and most generous sponsors of Halo Ball. And there's a reason that the firm continues to sponsor it because it's such a great event. Great organizations get benefited. So, I'll let James talk about
Nice.
Project
Charlie.
Refit a little more.
Yeah, I would just say that I would never really, if I could describe James, it wouldn't be passionate. So
Not at all. Yeah, I can't get that through. I don't know how to get my energy levels up. I have no idea.
Yeah,
It's
so just give us some insight on how that's kind of helped out and what you're, how that's a great honor to be there. So
Well, first, I drink a lot of tea, sleepy time tea to keep myself so calm. No, no, but in
and
all
Mr.
seriousness,
Chamomile.
yeah, cat, I'm basically sleeping right now. So, just to kind of like go over, Halo Ball. First off, Simon, I have to give him a shout out. Simon's the one that kind of like guided me through for a little while now. I mean, Simon's been there as like pretty much a rock for a lot of people don't know that. Simon's been there as a rock actually for me to like contact and ask questions to for a while. He's kind of seen the growth of Project Refit from a very, very early stage. And it's kind of an honor to work with Simon now so closely. And now he's the president of SJYPA and such to help us take it to the next level. I mean, this is going to really help Project Refit go from being, we might be really well known and everything like that, but we're not very well funded yet. So this is going to be one of our biggest, fundraisers that we have hosted. So this is a really big deal for us, and it's really an honor to be working with such a great organization, being led by someone like Simon and the others on the board, like Charlie and Dave. I know you guys both are on there too and helping out. So I mean, it's really great to kind of work with you guys to continue to grow us. And we're going to be able to expand our services, our reach, the people that we're going to be helping out, where we're going to be able to show up to help veterans actually directly. The key word here with Project Refit is show up, keywords, I should say. So, I mean, that's something that's really different. We're really finding our footing. I mean, we are a startup nonprofit. And the way I like to describe us anymore to people is we're the grunts. Like that's what we are. We were founded by a bunch of dudes who are grunts, infantrymen and such. You have me, I'm just an aggressive civilian. And you have, just guys who want to show up and be right there. So you can foxhole mentality, look to your left, look to your right, and we're going to be right there for you. And you want to show up and show them that they have a community. It's not a brick and mortar. We don't want to be brick and mortar ever. We want to be mobile constantly. And we want people to know that we're going to be out there in the community, really just like showing these guys, holding their hand and then taking them to the place that they got to go. And then we're creating partnerships with case management companies or case management nonprofits now. What that means, so everyone knows, once they come to us, we're going to be able to be there as a constant support system in the community, but then we can give them to a professional that can stick with them through their healing journey, right? We're going to be there too, of course, but we have these professionals who are going to be with them, sticking to them with, hey, you need to do this or that, and our social workers who are trained to do all that great stuff. But not every single veteran needs a case manager. Sometimes a veteran or first responder, what they need is a hug and a laugh and a cigar, something like that. So that's kind of like what we're building. We're building that kind of community and bringing back the brotherhood and the sisterhood. So like I said, we're very aggressive. We're going to be boots on ground and we want to show up. So that's what you're helping out. And that's what SJYPA Halo Ball is really helping us do. So I started out saying it. I'm going to end it saying it. I really can't thank them enough. And thanks, Simon, you too, brother, like big time. Appreciate you. So thank you guys.
Great stuff. And if you guys don't know or have been involved with it, it's they're doing amazing things at Project Refit. So things are happening, which is great to see.
Yeah. The other thing I'll say, Ryan, is when we say it's young professionals, it's young or young at heart. We don't really care. We don't discriminate by age out there. We've had 90-year-olds show up at Halo Ball and have just as much fun. So
great.
Don't care how old you are. Love to get you guys involved.
Awesome. Well, great insight from the panel. I really appreciate it. We've got a little bit of time, so we don't get to do this very often. I love to do it because the conversation is always great. I'm just going to kind of open up the floor to anybody that's got some questions. So you can unmute yourself. So please go ahead and let's go. Anybody have anything? Get Eric.
So I'm a direct lender, commercial product, and just going to add a little bit to what's happening with people.
Please.
A lot of banks are forgiving people for not paying their mortgage, but what's going to happen in 5-6 months when they go to run credit and they're late on their mortgage? And I don't know what's going to happen, to be candid. I'm an alternative lender, so I'm kind of happy that might hurt people because they can't get bank financing. So you'll probably see a lot of that situations happening for reprieving. What are we going to do for people that haven't paid their mortgage? They've got reprieve, but what's going to happen in the future? So there's some questions about that, and what's going to happen in the future.
That's interesting. Yeah, I guess the banks are going to kind of be a little bit more,
Restrictive.
yeah, and checking out who they're thinking too. So
Yeah,
Um,
Ryan, to add to that, I know at least with what I do, leasing office equipment, I've run into a lot of problems where, sorry, this sun is another. I run into a lot of problems with my customers where they took advantage of the programs that the banks put in place, 90-day deferred payments, call us up, we'll help you out during COVID. And they did that. And then we go back to approve credit through them. And they said, no, they took advantage of the 90-day deferred. So we can't approve them now. And it really
Wow.
crushed their credit. So I'm sure what Eric is talking about, I'm sure he's holding back a little bit and he knows a little bit more, but I'm sure they're going to be doing the same thing, unfortunately.
Got a big smile on my face.
all right, let's go. We'll go to Tim and then we'll go to Reagan. Get it, Tim.
Just to touch on what you said about people being able to give to organizations like Project Refit at this moment. I think it's a very diverse thing. I mean, think about how many businesses are struggling, yet at the same time, there are so many businesses that are going the other direction because of what's happening. So, it's a dichotomy that, it depending on who is giving money to these organizations, how well these organizations are going to do. I mean, I think James would say Project Refit's probably doing pretty well. I mean, it depends on the company, and it depends on how you've handled and how it's handled you more likely. COVID-19. It's a shame. I've seen so many businesses struggle, and personally, I'm trying to reach out and help some of the businesses that I know, so that you don't want to see anybody go away. You want to try to do everything you can to keep everybody as whole as you can, but you can't. Nobody's that big a superhero, right? Not in business anyway, because like you said, the banks really don't care at the end of the day. They want their money. So I think it's an interesting and very strange place that we are right now. And I think the good news is, I think we have a lot of hope right now. I'm excited to hear that things like the Halo Ball are going to happen. With everybody getting a lot of folks are getting vaccinated. Not everybody, but a lot of folks are getting vaccinated. Herd immunity is being built up. Good things are happening.
Yep.
People are getting out. People are starting to go out. Spring is here. It's 63 degrees and sunny today.
I know.
You got to be grateful for that. I mean, it's all good stuff. You know what I mean?
Love it. Reagan, go ahead, buddy. There he is.
Hey, James. When we get off the interstate 676 in the city,
Yeah.
and we see a homeless veteran with a sign,
Yep.
what's the best thing we can do for them?
That's a great question. So first off, you can contact me, and I would not mind showing up to the guy, and you just tell me where he is. But a lot of the time, there's a lot of organizations. Like there's one, I think it's called it's VMC, Veterans Multi-Service Center. That is actually right underneath the bridge of Philadelphia. A lot of the time you're gonna see homeless veterans in Philly, right? So VMC, Veteran Multi-Service Center, is really great for reaching out to homeless veterans. And a lot of those guys are already connected to them. It's just that they go out in the street and they get what they need to get. They get some donations or whatever. But we would be able to show up, and we have done it already. I mean, I've been doing this for the past, a lot of people don't know it, but we actually go out all the time. Like I'm out in the streets actually, like probably, I don't know, 2 or 3 times every month out there looking for guys to be able to like give socks to, or maybe just to talk to them a little bit. Like those are things that I do. Again, that's not something I want to talk about too much because it's just a thing that I do. Yeah, anyway, that's something you could do. You could contact me or just contact them. You also have the VA you can try to get them to go to if you feel like you should. Something I would recommend too is maybe print out some, and maybe we could do this, I just came up with this idea. It would be pretty cool to come out with like a printout of like maybe some resources, like contact numbers to be able to give to the guy, right? Along with maybe a pair of socks or food or something like that, so that they know who to contact. That's actually something I'm going to do. So Reagan, I'll send you some cards, bub. You'll have some information on there and you can hand it out to them. And anybody else?
Yeah, man, you could probably set up some kind of a little kit like that. And you could charge a little more than your cost and make money on it for the organization too.
Yeah.
Just have them in your trunk, and if you see somebody, just give them out. So that's a great idea. Great idea.
I've thought about that before too, like a backpack with a blanket in it, with whatever, some non-perishable food in it, that kind of thing.
Yep.
I just heard Dave Stever.
Yeah, I was just gonna say.
Yeah, I think Dave Stever's name.
He's actually knocking on your door right now.
Yeah, he's already there.
Oh shit, he's actually right here. What's up, Dave? Hey, what's up, man? Yeah, that's him.
Awesome. Yeah, great idea. Bri, go ahead.
So I just wanted to hop in. I think that like organizations like James and obviously we do a ton of fundraising, but we're a little bit different in that it's kind of the Catholic Church, so we're just 200 years behind in mobility and being fluid. When you're able to pivot in this environment, I think that you're able to do a little bit more and be a little bit more successful in fundraising. So to your point, James, cornhole tournaments, being able to get outside, doing different things is where it's at right now, because we saw everyone that was around on Friday. People are they're COVID fatigued and they need to get out and they want to get out. So I think that, you have to keep that up and keep that momentum going, even as this, kind of subsides. Like Tim said, it's nice out. People want to get out. So you got to really keep that going.
It's great.
That's awesome. I think you're right. That like the COVID fatigue is that's a real thing. 100%. That's a real, I think they should coin that term.
Yeah.
And I think that like actually, I think nonprofits are going to be a really important community building centerpiece. That's something that, we at Project Refit are trying to do in a really big way, is like genuinely build a community, right? So this is a great opportunity. It's like a reset happened. And like, hey, whoever's going to step up and be the center of that community building could be a really important organization and big organization. And I'm hoping that the events that we have found ourselves hosting, again, like a cornhole tournament, simple, easy. People show up, hang out, do whatever they want. Golf outings, of course, but car cruise. There's nonprofits not hosting. There's not a lot of nonprofits hosting car cruises. I mean, that's a ton of fun. Anybody can show up with any kind of car and just cruise with us and go do something patriotic and throw some American flags in the back of their car and just go, right? Like we're creating an environment where people feel seen. I think that's something I say all the time to our guys. We're just trying to build a system where people feel seen and heard. And I think that's so important for, any kind of community. And when a person feels seen and heard, man, there's nothing more powerful than that. So yeah, I think you're right, Brian, that, that's a huge opportunity for nonprofits to be able to create that community again and kind of like bring people back out and get them seeing each other. So.
Yeah, I think part of that too is like it's going to be exciting to kind of see what the adaptation looks like of multiple industries in the next like couple months. I mean, we're in a very like 2008, 2009 mentality of when in that whole downfall, we got technology booms throughout all industries, right? And tech is so much easier to create things in than it was, now 12 years ago. Like in that period, we got Uber and Airbnb and Groupon, and a handful of others. So I'm very excited to see what like January of next year into 2023 is going to look like on the technology fronts. I think we're going to see tons of ghost kitchens kind of being resurrected on all these restaurants that are going out of business, where there's multiple things being utilized. And I think on the nonprofit sector, we're going to see all kinds of new ideas that people might not even think of, or being able to take it to the next level because they are seeing all these new opportunities that have kind of presented themselves. It's going to be very interesting to see how everybody adapts. Go ahead, Dave.
If I could jump in from the school side, I'm seeing a little bit of them, schools starting to offer 3-year plans and extended school years, and all of a sudden it not being that traditional 4-year high school because of kids prefer doing it from home in a college atmosphere. Let me get my work done. So that'll be a little bit interesting to see if that gets any legs.
Yeah, I mean, the kids have lost out on snow days for the rest of their life, right? We all
Yeah.
like there
done.
is no more snow day, which sucks for them. So
Well, it's
They had it
interesting,
in
Brian.
summer
So,
school, right?
yeah, so diverting. My wife actually works at Thomas Edison State University, which is, if anybody doesn't know, they're an all online school, and she's actually in charge of their testing department. And it's funny because she's watching all the traditional schools try and find a way of catching up to what they've been doing for years.
oh man,
She said
yeah.
just it's funny to watch, but I agree. I think it's different at the college level for people to be able to sit there and take a class online than it is for like kindergarten and first graders. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in the long term. But I agree, snow days are gone.
Sucks.
Snow day again.
There's no better like, waiting the snow out to sea and waking up and like, oh, I can see the road. We're definitely
These
not
kids gonna have
closed.
to go to summer school? Does anybody know?
Our kids don't right now. They're planning not, but I know that a lot of the schools further south where they were meant to start in like August and then got pushed back. I think the advantage up here is that because the schools closed so early up here last year, they kind of had the plan in place and they were ready for it. But I know a lot of the schools in the south, they've been talking about going full summer school right back into the school year. So
That's what we're talking about doing that right now. Is
That's gonna hurt the
offering-
parents even more, right?
Well, if they need to go to summer camp, like most of our kids go to summer camp, so it's kind of building the academic piece into summer camp and kind of perpetuating that.
I mean, at
It
that
would
point,
suck.
this-
I mean, if I had to do it, I would hate it, but
I
I
mean,
don't.
is the school year just the same thing with just longer breaks? So like, there's like a summer break that's like 2.5, 3 weeks, and then they go back and like after the 4th of July until like August. And then, I mean, that's really what it is. I mean, there's a handful of other countries that kind of already do that too, like just full year round schools. So
Yeah.
yeah.
it's
No
gonna
more
be,
waking up and watching the news to see if there's your school number there running.
I
on the
know, right?
right?
Turn on
Wait to go back to
KYW.
bed.
And
There's no news. It
right.
used to be the
Wait to
radio.
go back
I was
to
to
bed.
say
You had to listen to
KYW.
the radio. There was no it wasn't on the TV. You had to turn the radio station on and wait for it to cycle through.
Gotta
Yeah,
wake
now
up
you get
at
a text
5:15.
message. You don't have
had
to do
wait till it
anything.
went all the way through.
Right.
again.
You used to know your school code better than you knew your home phone number.
That's,
Yeah.
that's exactly right.
Right.
Like, get up at 4:30 to see if your school's not opened.
So you
Yeah,
can
The only
so you
time
can
you'd
go
ever
back
get
to
up
sleep.
at 4:30.
So disappointed when your number didn't run across the
I
screen.
know, it
You gotta
sucks.
actually go to school. Everybody else gets off, but not me.
This is great. So, any other questions or comments?
I
All right.
actually would like to put something out into the universe for everybody right now.
Please.
We are looking for a donation of a truck. We need a truck to pull our trailer, but we also need help. And if anybody knows of a location where we can do this, we need to start building the trailer itself. We bought the trailer, we need to start building it out. And if anybody knows of like a location or a contractor or something like that, someone with property and maybe some hours that they can donate to helping us build this thing out. If we get enough people to donate time, we'll be able to get this thing built in a matter of like a couple of weekends. So if you guys know of anyone or anything, please let me know. And yeah, that's it. So that's all I wanted to say. Looking for truck donation and people who can help us out building the trailer itself.
Cool.
James, what's the budget for the truck? Like about how much?
So we are looking for a brand new truck because we plan on driving, as in Chad's words, he's one of the board members, the hell out of it. Because we're planning on being everywhere with this trailer. So we are looking at a newer one. That can range anywhere from like 30 to 40,000. I know that we can get a brand new Tundra for 40,000 from Holman. They already told us. They were like, look, we won't charge you because you're a nonprofit. We won't charge you like the taxes and we won't, charge you full price. We'll charge employee pricing for a brand new Toyota Tundra. So, and
Is
Tundras,
it just like a regular like F-150 that could pull that trailer?
yeah, Ford F-150 could probably pull that bad boy for sure. But Fords are also Fords, I'm just kidding.
Simmer down.
Yeah.
Simmer down, young man.
Just making sure
Simmer
we got to have
down.
something long term, But yeah, no, absolutely, 100%. Yeah, Ford F-150, Chevy Silverado.
So we need 30 to 40 companies to each pony up $1,000.
$1,000. That's what I was
Exactly.
saying too. That's what you do. That's the game plan.
You could load it up like NASCAR.
Yep. And then we can throw everybody's logos on the truck like NASCAR and call it a day.
Yeah. we're about to do a fundraiser with, I haven't announced it yet officially, but it's on my website. If you go to the website and look at the gratitude challenge, we're going to be relaunching out the Grateful Challenge that we did last year. And we're going to do it again, but with a twist. This time we're calling it, I think, just the Gratitude Challenge, and it's with Sammy. She was on The Circle on Netflix. I don't know if you guys ever saw that, but
Great show. So
she had-
addicting. That's Brian Barry right there. Got me on that one.
yeah, Sammy. So we're working with Sammy, Brian. She won like fan favorite or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's got almost a million followers on Instagram right now, and she has like thousands and potentially millions of others all over her other social media platforms. But she's going to help us launch that out, where it's you thank someone, almost like the Ice Bucket Challenge, but it's going to be instead you thank one person, create one video, and thank them for helping you get through 2020. And just showing some like love and gratitude that way, but also telling people, hey, if you like what we're doing, go and donate, to Project Refit to help us get a truck. So
Great.
Mission truck.
Nice.
Mission truck.
That's
Yep.
right.
I mean, I think we read something the other day between like 23 and 26% of users on Instagram have between 100,000 and 1 million followers. So think about that. The days of like famous people are done. Everybody is famous for a niche. That's where we're at now. So people don't want to be Tom Cruise and Oprah Winfrey anymore. They want to be like, they go to the yarn convention and they're like the Tom Cruise of yarn, and you wouldn't even know who they were if they went to like the store, and they're making millions of dollars promoting yarn.
They just want to make enough money where they don't have to get a real job.
That's it. Yeah, but you know what?
Be a
I'll tell you what,
YouTuber.
making content is a
YouTuber.
full-time gig, and it is
Yeah.
a lot of shit to do.
Wait, who said that they get a real
Mike,
job?
Mike, of course it's Mike.
Mike.
What? Dude, that's like
A YouTuber is a real job. Come on, man.
You're out of your
100%
mind.
It's a real job. What do you
100%.
mean?
Oh,
It's
Lord.
super difficult to sit
It
there
is.
and get people's attention and make all that content and be.
I mean, like, I'm talking about the people that jump off the roofs and do crazy, stupid stuff. Those are the guys I mean.
And guess
Oh.
what? Those dudes are making
Oh.
a shit ton of money.
They're making a
Yeah.
ton of money. Yeah, they're living a different life. That's for sure. Those dudes
Absolutely.
are different. But like people that are doing that niche stuff, they got to constantly come up with. They're advertisers.
No,
Yeah,
I mean the crazy guys jumping off the roofs. Luke, whatever. I don't even know their names.
All right.
Great
Well,
example.
yeah.
Yeah. Awesome.
Really
get
Yeah, he's
this-
setting up the
get this-
boxing matches.
My
The
Lord.
kid's setting up the boxing matches.
Oh,
Let's
no,
get this
bro.
truck bought, James. Let's get this truck bought. Do
Yeah,
it.
let's get that truck bought. Don't worry about people jumping off roofs, Mike. We got to start saving lives.
We're gonna start pushing out content to get business owners to pony up. $500,000. You get enough of them, it'll be done quick.
Back in my
Camiso
day,
stand-up night. We'll raise 40 grand.
What's that, Brian?
Camiso stand-up. We'll
Yeah.
raise 40 grand. We'll have a
Oh
night.
yeah. We'll get
back in my
these guys
day,
to
you worked
stand up for
you
us.
worked 9 to 5 like a real person, and you came home and had a glass of milk with dinner.
Ashley Owen said that she'd slap me for $5. All right, Ashley, fine.
We could
booth.
raise a
There
lot
you
of
go.
money. We could raise a lot of money doing that.
Yeah, you'll be first in line, Ryan. You'll pay like $100 to do that.
No way.
Yeah,
All right.
Flight Club. I like that.
All right, I'm gonna reel it back in. Everybody's wonderful. Thanks so much. All right. Thanks.
It's just plain mean, Ashley.
Really appreciate everybody coming bright and early Monday morning, 9 o'clock. So thanks to SJYPA for being part of this, James. Really great to support you guys. You're doing really great work. If you want to get involved with everybody, reach out. I'll have the chat saved here, so I can give that to you if you need it. So just shoot me a message. And SJYPA is doing some stuff, so keep an eye on that. Get involved. They're doing some great things. Project Refit's really starting to change the world here, so help get involved with that. Spread the word. If you see stuff on social, remember, sharing is caring. So with that, we're going to shut it down. So thanks, everybody. Appreciate it. Have a killer week, and enjoy the amazing weather.
See you,
Thanks.
everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Enjoy. Hit 'em.
See you guys.